level of cricket and the intensity it's been playing at is really phenomenal, and that forces you to be on your game. Interestingly enough, the pitches here in Dubai have kind of suited the faster bowlers. They have been quite slow, but there has been some grip as well, and there has been some sort of movement within the first 6 overs, especially in the early stages of the tournament. So I think it's been a tournament that has offered a bit of everything to every single discipline. So a lot of fast bowlers are doing well. We have been given the opportunities and the conditions to, that we can work with. And that's all I've tried to do. Coming out of this lockdown and not doing much at home. So that was a bit of a challenge coming into Dubai, and especially how hot it was. It was so hot, and acclimatizing to that and getting your bowling loads up has been quite interesting. But I'm glad that the IPL could be pulled off, and I'm glad to be performing the way I am.
Obviously you have the skill. There is nobody in this planet who will debate that. But more importantly, you are such a great ambassador for sport. Even if a catch is dropped off your bowling, we will see you sporting a smile. You are the perfect role model that this game needs. Talk to me about your philosophy and the way you play this sport. If there is a close run out, we can see, every body language of yours, the demeanor of yours, for me, as a scholar of sport, is a tribute to what this sport is all about. Talk to me about the philosophy with which you approach this sport.
It's funny you say that, because in international cricket, I've gotten in trouble a couple of times. I'm sure you would know. No, I think what happens is I play hard. I play quite competitively. One, to ensure that the team wins, and two, to ensure that I play to the best of my ability. And if I play to the best of my ability, it means that my team has got a better chance of winning. So whatever team I play in, I always give my 100%. And I guess it's about looking after your teammates. I wouldn't say I'm perfect. I'm not a perfect human being, no. But it's about encouraging your teammates.
Nobody is.
Encouraging your teammates and not losing your cool, and just giving your all for the team wherever you can add in, especially if it's just giving a pat on the shoulder to a teammate that doesn't feel that great, or giving a teammate some encouragement and some confidence on how great he's doing, because ultimately it's a team sport that's made by individuals. So I think that's how I like to play the game.
Yes, I do know that you were pulled up a couple of times, but the hardest competitor will be, whether it's a Sachin Tendulkar in 2001 in your country, right or wrong, people have been pulled up. But, every human being is entitled to making mistakes, and no one's perfect. But that's the whole point. People learn from mistakes, and what you are giving this sport, we are proud of you, Kagiso. So that's the moot point of it all. But now to a different one. Tushar Deshpande starts the bowling for a Delhi Capitals, and he has Kagiso Rabada right there to mentor him. Now tell me about this aspect of the Indian Premier League. A top international fast bowler mentoring a young Indian man. That's for me the essence of the IPL. Talk to me about this Indian crop and how it is like, what the interactions are like. Give me a sneak peek.
Yeah, Tushar, I said it before, he really wants it. He just has that drive, and he's got a lot to work with. He's got some decent pace, and he can move the ball, and he's quite a strong young guy. Yeah, that's what the IPL is all about as well. I'm sure it's great for him to be working with me, but he met his role model, which was Dale Steyn, at one of the practices. And I'm sure that must have made him incredibly happy. If I look at myself, for instance, working with a guy like Ricky Ponting, this is a guy that I used to watch growing up. and used to be in awe of. And now he's here basically showing me his brain and how he used to go about it. And that gives you insight to understand just how great he actually was. I worked with Rahul Dravid as well when Paddy Upton was the coach. I mean, it's just amazing to work with these legends of the game. Ryan Harris, now, such a phenomenal bowler. I mean, we were at school watching these guys play, and now they're here, and you can ask them anything you want. So I'm sure Tushar feels like that. Maybe playing with someone else is phenomenal as well. That is from...
You know, what I get out of this statement of yours, what I get out of this statement of yours is the word respect. And that's why I said you're a true ambassador of this sport. Because what you just spoke about, Ricky Ponting, Ryan Harris, and the word respect comes out of that, Kagiso, and that for me is my takeaway here. So tell me something, you know, whether it was 2019, that super over against Andre Russell, middle stump knocked out, first game of the tournament, once again you do that, under pressure every time Shreyas Iyer, who's a dear friend, throws the ball to you and you deliver. What is it about, how do you deal with pressure? Explain the philosophy with which you bowl a super over or in a crunch situation, and more times than not you keep delivering for your team. So how do you cope with pressure? What's the logic? What's the mentality like when you approach a super over?
I think I don't have a philosophy on dealing with pressure. I think it's just, I say to myself, you know, you're going to have to go and do this. There's no one else who's going to do it. You've been chosen. And it's kind of like a responsibility that you put on yourself. And it goes back to what I was saying about, you know, being there for the team. I would hate for the team to lose. And I would hate for myself to not, you know, pull it off. If I don't pull it off, then I know that I tried my best. But I think it's just about standing at your mark with a plan. If you go without a plan, then already you're on the back foot. You know, you can't be thinking twice. You need to know exactly what you want to do. And then if that doesn't work, then you almost need to have a fallback. And that could be something you discussed before, or it could be something that you discover whilst you're doing whatever you're doing. So I guess there's no philosophy. I think it's just about being decisive. That's what I'm thinking right now. I think
that's the philosophy. I think that's the philosophy. Decisive is perhaps the word. Kagiso, when you went away last year and Delhi Capitals sort of lost their way a little bit, when I was speaking to Shreyas on this very show, and he said the same, that, you know, you were missed and missed sorely. This year, no World Cup, you're there for the full time, the team's looking good, almost on the verge of playoffs. You think this is Delhi Capitals' year, more because of the balance that you guys have despite injuries, nothing sort of, you know, you guys are looking superb. So talk to me about the dressing room, the team morale, the team mentality, and the rest of the tournament.
Look, the team is managed, I think it's managed extremely well by the management. I think Ricky's done a great job. I think Shreyas has done a great job. I think the senior players, I would consider myself a senior player because of the amount of cricket that I've played. So you got Shika there, Ajinkya, I got myself there. Stoyan has played a bit. So you got quite a few guys who are internationally experienced. But at the same time, I'm still young. I'm 25. And, you know, that's the sense in the team. The team is very young. It's very chilled, and it's young with players that can be future greats. And if you have a look at those names in the starting lineup, those are young Indian players, and also young players like Shimron Hetmeyer. You got Kimo Paul there, players from the West Indies as well, who can be future greats for their country. And so the hunger's there. Immediately the hunger's there. And, you know, you don't have to force it out of anyone in our team. But Ricky's done a great job in managing us, and also the rest of the management staff. But it's a very nice balance. It's very chilled. We don't put ourselves under heaps of pressure. You can understand our young change room. I mean, you can imagine a young change room is very vibrant, very relaxed. and on the field, we want to prove ourselves and also prove ourselves for the team and prove that we can win it as a team. So, I mean, that exuberant youth, I think, is lifting us up as well. And then that with the mix of experience, and that's where the application needs to come in. So we have a challenge to win when it matters the most. Every game is important, but going into the playoffs, we need to secure a spot there and then play our best cricket in those times.
The other night, the host broadcaster cut to you when Anrique Nokia picked a wicket. And your reaction, which was full of passion and commitment when your partner picks a wicket, that for me sums up this team. It was as if you had picked it. It was the way you were celebrating tells me that there is something good about this change room. Talk to me about your partnership with Anrique, because oftentimes 250 bowlers, there's no respite for the batsman. That is working clearly for Delhi Capitals. Is it because you all play international cricket together? Is that helping you? And talk to me about this partnership with Anrique Nokia.
I think I'm really, really, really happy for him. When I was playing, I think we're playing in Sri Lanka. And we're having a tour there, and you heard about Heinrich. I played with him. I played against him a couple of games in our age group level. But we're coming back from Sri Lanka, and there was the MSL going on back home. And we heard about how quick he was bowling. And then he's bowling quickly. And unfortunately, he got injured, but he came back in the 4 days, and he was bowling quickly. And you just kept hearing about him. And we knew he was there, but now he was really knocking on the door hard. He finally broke into the team, and we got along. I wouldn't say that, we go to each other's houses and, chat about life. Right now, I think the more that I played with him, the better that we got to know each other a lot more. So now, we chat to each other a lot more because we found that we got similar interests in some things. And also we just talk fast bowling. And also we can relate because we're both South African. But that's right. The change room is like that. People are supporting each other's success.
Kagiso, you're 25. You're a young man. You're a really, really young man. But 25, you've achieved a hell of a lot. I mean, so much. But in the backdrop of what our society is all about, the movement we are calling Black Lives Matter, for me, every life matters. Against that backdrop, the statement that you are making in front of the world, sport transcends boundaries and barriers. Is that a serious statement according to you, especially in the context of your country and my country, where discrimination has been a story over the years? How do you sort of consider yourself as a role model for society, as somebody who has achieved and somebody who is followed and can actually make a change to society?
I definitely think that players like myself and other influential players around the world do have a responsibility, and it's important that the right message is conveyed towards the masses, if you want to put it that way, because we are on the big stage, and a lot of people have access to our opinions, and a lot more people will take our opinions seriously. So I mean, everyone has their opinion. So I definitely do feel that it is important, if I have an opinion, to convey it. I do believe, all lives matter, yes, 100%. With this movement, I said Black Lives Matter, and that's where I would leave it. I think we, as sportsmen, we do have a huge role to play in society, and everyone is on the.
In every sense.
If everyone has their opinion, and everyone would have a similar opinion when it comes to, having a togetherness. I mean, even if you had to have a look in our team, you have Indians, you have Australians, you got South Africans, you got people all across the world. You got the people from the West Indies. And so when we come together and when we win, we put our racial barriers aside, you know, and that's the way things should be. No one is superior. No race is superior. It's as simple as that. That's what I believe in. No race is superior.
And that's the beauty of the Indian Premier League and the Olympic Games and every sporting competition. It gives us that realization that entitlement to privilege is wrong. Historically, we have made a mistake. It is time we rectify it, Kagiso. And thanks for playing a part in that. Now, just to move track a little bit, Shreyas Iyer, young captain, supremely talented. Can you tell me a little bit about Shreyas' captaincy and how you are gelling along and what you think of him as captain?
Yeah, Shreyas plays the game and he plays to win. And he's got a really cool head on his shoulders. He's played in the Indian side now. Looks like he's doing well. But, you know, in international cricket and in cricket, you just have to keep churning them. A new day is a new day. And so I think that's the approach that he takes. That's the approach that I take. I've played with him, against him since under 19s. And when I came to Delhi, he was here as well. So I would say, yeah, me and him are friends. We're very familiar with each other. But when we come off the field, like, we'll talk cricket a little bit, but not much. You know, that's what I like about my relationship with him. Like, he's just a normal guy. Like, we're just cool. Like, we chat about whatever 25-year-olds chat about. But in terms of his cricket, I think, yeah, he's got a bright future and he's got a lot of hard work to do. And all the best to him. He's done a phenomenal job so far. He's scoring runs and he's leading the team well. And all the best for the future. But yeah, otherwise we chill.
Kagiso, you know, at the start of this competition, I mean, some of us, there were a lot of comments in the media about no fans. Will the intensity be the same? The kind of matches we have seen, one match yielding 2 super overs in a day and then a same match getting 2 super overs, because even that gets tied. You had a super over. The kind of intensity that we are seeing from every cricketer, 8 teams, anyone can beat the other on their day. Is this the best IPL that you have been part of? Is this the most intense IPL that you have been part
100%. of? 100%. That's what I feel. Even if you have a look at the teams in the middle, there's nothing separating them. And I knew that it would be this way, even if there was no crowd, because what's the one thing that's common about the players that are here? They all want to be world beaters. And if you have a bunch of world beaters coming together and playing with each other and against each other, the competitiveness is going to be naturally there.
When you bowl against somebody like a KL Rahul, a batsman at the top of his game, you know, scoring runs at will, 600 runs almost in the competition, and here comes the best bowler, the purple cap leader, the orange cap leader, how does it set up? I mean, when you bowl to a batsman at his prime, whether it's a KL Rahul or a AB de Villiers or a Virat Kohli, what's the philosophy that Kagiso Rabada goes with? Can you tell me and give me a sneak peek?
Well, we normally have our analysis meetings. Cricket has become very professional now. So we have an analyst that travels with us, and then we'll just sit down and analyze, and whoever's played against them or with them will sort of give some information about the player. That's another thing. You totally forget that you used to play with this guy. Now I could be sitting with, I don't know, Marcus Stoinos or Ricky Ponting, and he would be like, giving information about Steve Smith, and I would probably be giving information about, I don't know, Faf du Plessis. And, you know, that just shows that we here as a team. And your former teammates become your opponents. So that's how it is. You analyze the player, and then at the end of the day, it's about trusting what you can do as much analysis that you, as much as, if it doesn't matter how much analysis you do, at the end of the day, it's about trusting your strengths, and people have different strengths. So, I mean, people try to complicate the game a lot, you know, but what's the most common thing you see? People going top of off stump, using their bouncer, and then bowling their yorker at the back end. That's as simple as it gets, but you try and use your basics according to reading the pitch, according to looking at the ground, according to the batsman's technique. But ultimately, you want to do the basics with a little bit of flavor.
You've already created a huge legacy for yourself as a performer, as an ambassador, and however many times you might be pulled up in international sport. For me, you are a breath of fresh air. To see the way you're running in that silken action, almost sort of, you know, your grace when you're running in the action, the delivery, it is as if you are at ease with yourself. Will you say that you are mentally at a situation where you are in, you know, you are in control of everything you are doing? Mentally, you are at peace with yourself and your game, and that is reflecting in your performance and getting the best out of Kagiso Rabada, be it for Delhi Capitals, be it for South Africa, be it for yourself?
I think most times you'll feel decent. You know, I'm feeling quite good. I'm really glad. I'm really fortunate that I got the wickets that I have, and I'm really glad to be a part of this team where people just keep churning out performances, and that helps as well when you're winning. I think at the top of my mark, I just have one thing in my head, and that's what I want to do. Just try to stay calm as possible and just focus my energy on what I want to do. But, you know, cricket is not easy. Like, you do go through some tough times, and you have to be really relentless going through those. But when it's going well for you, you need to ride the wave, you know? And I'm trying not to look back. I'm trying to just look forward and just keep doing what I'm doing, and trying to perform under pressure. But otherwise, at the top of my mark, I mean, I don't choose to run in that way. It's just the way that I run in, and I don't choose to bowl that way. That's just the way that I bowl naturally. But in my head, well, I'm trying to just be nice and calm and execute what I have to execute on that given day. But yeah, that's it.
That's it, those last words. I mean, my time is up, so I will say this. At the start of this competition, I spoke to your owner, co-owner Parth Jindal, and I said, this is your year. With the kind of team you have, the balance you have, the bench strength you have, this can well be your year. And the IPL would love a new champion. And if it does happen, trust you me, Kagiso Rabada will be a real important cog in that wheel. And everyone knows that. I don't need to say that. But all I will say is more power to you, Kagiso. You're good for the sport. More power to you, to your skill, to your calmness, to your reasonable demeanor at the top of your mark. As a batsman, it's not great. But as a performer and as a viewer, I will say, terrific to see you. Terrific to see you push your trade, push your art, because it is art. Thank you very much for who you are. Keep performing, keep delivering, and more importantly, serve the sport, because you're a true ambassador. Thank you very much for being on my show and gracing it.
Thank you for those words. I really appreciate it.
India Today TV, along with 70 other news channels, is a proud member of the News Broadcasters Association since 2007. We strictly follow the code of ethics and guidelines issued by NBSA. Beware of unregulated channels.
Think Litti Chokha is the spiciest thing from Bihar? Try watching its elections.
Ground report, Bihar.
You have to come to the ground here in rural Bihar.
ये बताओ मामा, ये चुनाव कौन जीतेगा? This is Rohit Singh in Kishanganj for India Today.
Vote on Bihar, only on India Today TV. Beyond the doses of lively gossips and paparazzi, he has left behind obsession and made room for open expression.
Ranbir Singh or Ranbir Kapoor?
You're asking me whether me or Ranbir.
Can we do the original Tamma Tamma? Because I love that track.
Dusting off the stardust from the stars and bringing out everything that makes them human.
You are probably the only guy who's never done a kissing scene on screen.
No, I'm not comfortable with them at all.
Join Sushant Mehta in the club, only on India Today TV.
For more news and updates, log on to indiatoday.in and download the India Today app now.
Reporting the unprecedented rain and flooding of Hyderabad from Ground Zero, it's Ashish for India Today.
Amritsar at the moment is the epicenter of crop burning. The Supreme Court had given a clear directive last year asking the government to give a compensation of 2,500 rupees to smaller farmers, those who have land holdings less than 5 acres. But farmers here tell India Today that they haven't received a single rupee as compensation.